Hi, so let's talk about why contract law is so important. Why are contracts required to keep the economy humming? Well, contracts are all about credible commitment. It's about trust. So let's use a simple economic model to talk about why contracts are so important to us in our everyday lives. So if you have a principal, someone who holds some money, and an agent, someone who is able to invest that money and do something productive with it. If the principal has one unit, let's say $1 million, and the agent is able to turn that $1 million into $2 million, that's obviously a very productive thing, being able to double the money, right? So let's say the principal agrees to split the gains with the agent. So if the principal takes the $1 million, if they hand it over to the agent can turn that into $2 million. The agent gets to keep $500,000, half of the gains, and the principal gets back $1.5 million. So that would be a really good thing. That is a productive use of resources, right? Now, let's say we're in a world where there are no enforceable contracts. Let's think about how the principal and agent will approach this. If you're the agent and someone hands you over $1 million and the agreement is that you'll invest that and increase it and then split it back, but there's no way to enforce that kind of commitment, the agent is likely to take that money, right? If there's no way to force them to give the money back, they're going to take that $1 million. Maybe they'll turn it into $2 million, and then they have $2 million. Either way, whether they invest it or not, they are appropriating it, taking it. Now, knowing that that is likely to happen, the principal's never going to hand over that $1 million, right? If there's no credible commitment, if there's no enforceable contracts, then the principal is never going to invest the money because they're not going to let go of it. They're not going to trust that the other party will ever give them the money back. Now let's think about that same little model in a world with enforceable contracts. Now if a court comes in and says, now agent, you promised to give back the money, the principal, plus half of the gains from it. You didn't do that. We're going to make you put the principal in the position that he or she would have been if the contract had been fulfilled. We call that expectation damages. That means the court is going to say the agent has to pay $1.5 million to the principal if the agent breaks the agreement and appropriates the money. Now, looking at that, the agent is going to follow through on the contract, right? They have nothing to gain by appropriating the money. In fact, they may have something to lose depending on whether they're able to invest it fully or not. But so the agent is going to go through with the contract. That's still a really good deal for them because they get $500,000. They get half of the gains from this investment. So with credible commitment, the agent is way better off, $500,000 better off. The principal is going to look at what the agent is likely to do and say, okay, I am willing to give $1 million to this agent because I know that if they break their promise, the courts will step in and will force them to pay me what I'm owed anyway. So the principal is willing to hand that $1 million over knowing that they'll be able to get it back. So the principal is better off because this productive activity, this good investment can happen. The agent is better off because they get a slice of the productive activity, the gains from the investment. So both parties are better off when they're able to credibly commit to their promises. That's what an enforceable contract is all about. That's why contracts are so important, because they are a commitment device. People can trust each other knowing that the courts can step in and help make things right if one party doesn't do the right thing, doesn't do what they said they would. And knowing that courts can and will step in when needed means they don't have to most of the time. Most of the time, parties don't breach their contracts, they follow through on them. And so the courts are really important to have, but usually we don't have to actually turn to them all that often. That's why contracts are so important. They build trust, they allow us to credibly commit to do the things that we promise. That's why they're the backbone of the economy.